Every data analyst eats that wall. Your SQL query breaks, Power BI won't refresh, Python throws error, how refuses to cooperate. The real question is, do you panic or do you debug like a pro? Let's break it down. Welcome to my cyberspace. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to debug like a data pro. Either you're using SQL, Power BI, R, Python, or whatever data analytics tool you're using. The first question is, how did the term debugging come into place? It was actually from somebody called Grace Hopper. This is one of the very founding fathers of data and all of those. And actually, she found a real moth in her computer that was not making it work efficiently, and she had to take away the moth, like debugging. So that was where the term debugging came. And ever since, when we run into error as data experts, we say, oh, I'm trying to debug the code. And don't be scared. The fact that you have error, or the fact that you had debugging, or the fact that there are issues with your code doesn't make you less of a data expert. In fact, that's one of the really great learning curve. Some things can just decide not to work, and one simple way to debug is sometimes maybe just close up whatever you're doing. Maybe close it up, refresh, open up your laptop, it might just work. That's just one great tip. I think that's an extra point, but you want to wait for the last point that I'm going to be mentioning. But one thing I'm going to say, the first principles of debugging is stay calm. I'm going to say it again, stay calm. A lot of times when you're debugging, there's just a lot of stuff going on in your mind, what went wrong, especially when you cannot find an obvious typographical error, or you cannot find an obvious error. And really, the error could just be either you misspelled a particular syntax or wherever it is. You want to stay calm so that you are able to fix the error. When you have an understanding that debugging or running into error is part of the normal process, you wouldn't feel too anxious when you actually experience error message. So try to stay calm, try to look at the information and see it as part of the learning process, because every one of us actually experience error when we do work on our projects. So read the error message. What is the error message saying? If you have a couple of error message, you can try to run your code line by line and try to see, okay, where is this error message coming? And it could tell you the exact line, it could tell you the exact issues. So make sure you pay attention to read the error message. And sometimes just by reading the error message, you have an idea of where the message where the issue is coming from, and that is one of the very first things you want to do. You also want to simplify the problem. And one thing that happens is, especially when we are running a query or we are doing something in Power BI or whatever it is, you are putting you probably doing a bunch of things together. So first thing first is, why not try to do something separately? So break it piece by piece. Okay, I know there's an error, but you're not exactly sure where the error is. You try to say, okay, this aspect of this code or this aspect of this thing I'm working on, let me do it separately. Will this thing work if I just place this number on a data card? And that's one tip. One mistake that we often make as data experts is we keep doing the same thing, or we don't make any change and we expect the bug to be fixed. Apart from the fact that you've refreshed your laptop or whatever it is, meaning that there's something that you are doing that is totally wrong. And one very useful step to debugging sometimes is just to step away. Yes, stepping away would give you the time to rethink and have this idea of, oh, this is something I need to do. Or you might just be in the bathroom or just somewhere in a weird place. That's when the idea for the solution is going to come in place. And that's when, as data experts, you're working on multiple projects, so that when you're working on one and you're probably getting tired of this project, you could pick up a new project. And just that's one of the ways that really help you to debug the issues that you're having. So you also want to check some assumptions, is my data type correct? Is the table name correct? Is the file path correct? All of those little simple things can actually really solve the problem. But let's go a little bit more specific. If you're trying to debug in SQL, right? Either you're using MySQL or whatever it is. And one of the things you want to do is you want to check your syntax step by step. I mentioned this. You want to run things little by little. You could do maybe select top 10. You can take away the where clause. You could take away the order by specify clause, all of those. If you did some like Windows function, you can try to separate that. You could comment that out and just run your query in the simplest form. And if you could also check your join, if you're joining properly, well, if you're joining two tables and like for some reason you're getting an error message, look at the variable type for one of the tables. So the other tables, think about, oh, if you're not getting any data and maybe you applied some filter, that's why you're not getting any data, or you misspelled like a where clause, right? Maybe you wanted to say where table is yes, right, and you wrote YESS, right? So that would not maybe bring any results. So I think just trying to decomplicate the query is going to really help you to be able to fix the bug that you're experiencing. And it's kind of interesting, like saying bug, like how the whole idea came in place. Another thing is, let's say you're having like the bug or the issue in Power BI. So one of the things you want to do is to want to refresh your Power Query. After you've closed, you want to refresh. You also want to see if maybe you don't want to apply changes to whatever you did. You could track the step, and Power BI in the top right corner like allows you to see like the steps you made. You could try to backtrack to see what is happening, and if you're trying to make a visual, you could place that same visual on a different format. And if you wrote a measure, you want to like check if your calculation for the measure is correct, or just try to test what you're doing in a very more like a lab system, like okay, let's test this in a different approach, right? So that's really going to help you. You also want to probably visualize simplify the visual before you build. And so like if you want to do something like a bivariate analysis, like a bar chart, or you have something else on the y-axis, something else on the x-axis, you want to do something univariate first of all, maybe that would actually fix it. Also, let's say you're experiencing like bug issue with Power BI or Python, and you want to print and check your intermediate like outputs. So you want to say, okay, at what point did this break? At what point did I get an error message? And one very important thing is Google is your friend. Like, just copy the error message on Google or whatever it is, and you would find like a solution. People might have had that same solution, like Stack Overflow or whatever. Just there's somebody that must have experienced that same issue, and you can have an idea about it. And lastly, if you're experiencing issue, one way to do that is to seek help. Yes, sometimes if you've done something for like a while, I don't know, depends on how much of time you think you want to express or give to like debugging, just even like having a meeting with somebody. I've experienced this a lot. They might not necessarily even be able to help you fix the bug, but because you're having a conversation with them about the problem, that's a way you could really spark up something in your brain, and it brings an idea of the solution in itself. So you don't want to do this alone. In case you experiencing a bug, you don't want to use all day trying to fix a bug. And again, experiencing error message or issues doesn't make you a weird data expert. We all experience errors, and that is part of the process. And the beauty of experiencing error is that you get better at it as you fix more error. Right now, people reach out to me and say, hey, I'm having this error message in my data. Because I've experienced that same error message before, or that issue, I probably know like how to help. And that's one of the experiences that you gain, is you learn better even by the error or by the issue. So in case this video was a value for time, do want to subscribe, like, and follow. You can check out other videos on how to properly document or other things that's just going to be helpful for you on this channel. Thank you.